Hi guys, my name is Sita. Welcome back to my channel. And oh my god, I finished surgery. Let me just tell you that I start my next department in about 8 hours and I should really be asleep, but I really felt the need to capture this moment because it is truly significant. Don't let anyone take that away from you. When you finish your first department, yay! Without extending, double yay! So in this video, I just want to go over a few things that I want to remember in the future when I finish my subsequent postings. So, one, I thought it was gonna be a really big deal, like when you leave all the respective WhatsApp groups that you're in, because you're in a lot of WhatsApp groups, and it's very much a sort of tradition when you leave the group to send a text saying, "Dear bosses and colleagues, thank you so much for the opportunity that you've given me, and I've learned so much. I'm so sorry for all the mistakes that I made. Good luck and all the best. I look forward to working with you in the future," whatever. And then, the other specialists and MOs, mostly the MOs, will text saying like, "Thank you, see you, good luck, goodbye," whatever, right? I thought it was gonna be like a really big deal when I actually did it, but it really wasn't. Maybe it's because I sent the text quite late, but it's like nobody really gives a shit. And I realized like this is not something that you need to take personally. It's just people come and go in the department all the time, so it's like very much the circle of life for them. Like, I think one of my leaders, the first leader that I had in like the first couple of weeks that we joined, told me that in housemanship, the journey is really just being taught something and then teaching someone else something. It's like a never-ending journey of just teaching and learning. So I think that's quite poignant in a way. Like that kind of sums up like what I got so far from my first department, because being a first poster, in just like 2 or 3 months, we went from being like very new to housemanship to being the newest ones in the surgical department. So even if we had housemen that were in their second, third, fourth, fifth posting, we are still the most senior ones in the department and therefore know how things should be done in this department. So seniority in terms of like which posting you are in housemanship means quite little, depending on like it means quite little, full stop, because different departments run things differently. And so when you enter that department, you basically like you're a newborn again. But of course, like when you've gone through certain postings, you have a certain level of credibility that unfortunately us first posters never had. So that's one, like the deal with the leaving group thing. The second thing is like I feel incredibly fortunate because I have witnessed a lot of procedures and done things that not a lot of people get the opportunity to do. So I listed like 5 things, but in some future video I'll probably go into more detail because it's just so cool. One, I got to see a condition called pseudomyxoma peritone, which is basically a kind of ascites fluid buildup in your abdomen, like peritoneum, and it's like it's a result of cancer. I know this woman had ovarian cancer, and her abdomen was so distended, and when we tried to aspirate the fluid, like when we did a pure peritoneal tapping, the thing that came out was like jelly, like thick viscous jelly. It looked like, we called her the boba jelly auntie because it was just so unusual. And I remember my MOs were like, "This is so weird, I've never seen this throughout my career, you're so lucky to have got to see this," which is like, yay. She ended up dying, which was really sad, but still really cool. That's one. The second thing was, I think there was one time I saw in the OT a woman who had a gluteal abscess, like that started out of her butt that ended up at her, like behind her calf, like her peroneal muscles. And when they drained it, it was like 2 liters of pus, so much that the surgeon operating was like, he just backed away. He's like, I cannot take this smell. So that was quite fascinating. The third one is when neurosurgery started operating in my hospital. So I got to scrub in on a laminectomy and see the spinal cord. And then the next day, a decompressive craniectomy, and I saw the human brain. And oh my god, it is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen in my life. It didn't look real. Like when we snipped open the dura and exposed the brain, and the neurosurgeon was like, "Can you appreciate the anatomy, Sita?" And I'm like, "No, but I appreciate the opportunity." But no, he pointed at like certain structures and he's like, "This is the Sylvian fissure," and I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm going to name my first child Sylvia," because it was just so cool, so cool. Like, oh my god, like I already had a crush on Derek Shepherd from Grey's Anatomy, but this just took it to a whole new level. Okay, the fourth one is the time that we had to do an urgent scope for a woman who just would not stop bleeding from her mouth and shitting blood. Like, oh my god, the smell of Melina stays with you. And to actually like do the scope while like stuffing her with blood and find out the cause of the bleeding like in the entire span of like a couple of hours post-night was quite fascinating. It's like, oh wow, holy shit, this makes so much sense. Like you're bleeding because there's like an ulcer spurting blood in your stomach, which we can see, and like with like adrenaline and stop. And it was and like she survived, which is even cooler. And then the fifth one, on my last day, I got to see my MO insert a Sang-second Blakemore tube into a guy who would not stop like bleeding from like his orifices, and it was so cool. I mean, it's a very technical device to use, so to have seen it used, I mean, it didn't actually work at the end of the day. The guy died, but it was like, oh, this is a life-saving procedure. And I did like my continuous medical education presentation on upper GI bleed, so to have witnessed that urgent scope and this was like, oh, esophageal and non-esophageal bleeding, cool. I was like, very wholesome, I felt. So there's that. The third thing, maybe like my final reflection, because I don't want to go on for too long, is like, my identity changes tomorrow, you know? I'm gonna start introducing myself as, "Hi, I'm Sita, I'm a second poster." Just like, oh my god, it felt like just yesterday I was dreading to enter housemanship, and now I already have the weight of like 4 months of experience. Now I have people welcoming me with certain expectations. Before it was just, "You are a dumbass, I expect you to know nothing, and like please just don't kill anyone on our watch." But now it's like, I expect you to be able to manage like certain emergencies because you've already gone through like a major posting. So that's fascinating. I wonder how like I will treat or be around first posters and be able to reminisce on the day when I myself was feeling so unbelievably incompetent. Don't get me wrong, I still do, but I wonder if I'll have the sort of compassion that certain seniors had for me in guiding me, you know? So overall, I feel, yes, tagging for 2 months was brutal, but being in the district hospital for 1 month really made up for it. Being in those 2 really cool neurosurgical operations definitely made up for it. And I feel like overall, I struggle with being able to write and film consistently. However, as far as housemanship goes, I think that I'm enjoying it. You know, the hours are insane, of course, and it's altogether just like a harrowing experience, but it's very rewarding when you just let yourself succumb to like, this is it, you know, this is what this life is gonna be like. It's gonna be exhausting. I just have to learn how to like take care of myself and have as much fun as I can outside of it, and like plow through. So yeah, in essence, like after having filmed this video, I already feel better, and I'm looking somewhat forward to starting my new department tomorrow. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you are new, please consider subscribing to my channel to support me. If there are questions that you have, and if you want to know more about certain aspects of housemanship, don't hesitate to comment or send me a DM. I really appreciate the number of people that have reached out to me. So thank you very much, and see you in the next video. Bye.